My beloved soul, stop for a moment, slow down your scrolling and listen carefully. What you are hearing right now is not random, and it is not an accident that your attention was pulled here at this exact moment. There are thousands of voices competing for your focus every day, yet somehow this message found you. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. In the unseen realm, heaven often interrupts ordinary moments when something important needs to be revealed. And right now, something about your life is standing at the edge of a turning point. Before the next chapter begins, your spirit needed to hear this truth. You may not fully understand why you felt drawn to this message, but your heart sensed something before your mind could explain it. There is a quiet awareness inside you, a feeling that something deeper is happening beneath the surface of your life. That awareness is not imagination. It is recognition. Because the spirit within you understands when heaven is speaking. Out of all the people who could have come across these words, you are the one hearing them now. And that alone should tell you something powerful. Not everyone is meant to hear this message. There are messages that speak to the crowd, and then there are messages that speak to the chosen. The difference is not popularity, it is purpose. Some people are guided to certain words because they are walking through a season that requires divine confirmation. This is one of those moments. The truth is, many people would hear these words and move on without feeling anything. But you stopped. Something in your spirit paused. That pause was not accidental. It was recognition that something about your story is being addressed. Because the truth is, the season you have been walking through has not been easy. You have faced betrayal from people you once trusted. Individuals you believed would stand beside you instead chose distance, silence, or even quiet opposition. And when betrayal comes from strangers it hurts, but when it comes from people who once knew your heart, it leaves a deeper mark. You tried to understand it. You tried to make peace with it. Yet there were moments when the question still lingered in your mind, why did this happen? Then there was the silence. Not just the silence from people, but the silence of circumstances. The quiet seasons when it felt like everything around you slowed down. Opportunities paused. Progress stalled. And while others seemed to move forward with momentum, your path felt like it had suddenly entered a long hallway of waiting. Waiting can be one of the most difficult seasons for a soul that knows it carries purpose. Because when you carry purpose, you feel movement inside you even when the outside world looks still. And that waiting created another challenge, misunderstanding. There were people who watched your quiet season and assumed something was wrong with you. Some believed your silence meant weakness. Others thought your absence meant you had lost your strength. And a few quietly decided that your time had simply passed. They looked at your situation and formed their own conclusions. They spoke about you as if your story had already reached its final chapter. In their minds, the narrative was simple. You had potential once. You had momentum once. But now, you were finished. They said it openly, or sometimes they said it quietly when your name came up in conversation. Some spoke it with disappointment. Others spoke it with a strange satisfaction. And a few people simply stopped expecting anything from you at all. But there is something they never realized while they were forming those conclusions. While people were watching your silence, heaven was watching your endurance. While others measured your life by visible progress, God was measuring something deeper. Not your speed. Not your visibility. Not your applause. What heaven was watching was your heart. Heaven was watching your patience when you could have become bitter. Heaven was watching your restraint when you could have retaliated. Heaven was watching your faith during the moments when nothing around you seemed to change. You thought those quiet moments were invisible. They were not. Every prayer whispered in exhaustion. Every tear that fell when no one else saw. Every time you chose integrity instead of revenge. Heaven noticed all of it. And this is where the story begins to shift in a way that most people never expected. Because while some people believed your story was ending, Heaven was quietly documenting every detail of your journey. The moments of weakness. The moments of perseverance. The moments when you kept walking even when you were unsure where the path was leading. And what Heaven saw in those moments is the reason this message has found you now. You see, the world often decides someone is finished based on what it can see on the surface. But God never writes a final chapter based on surface appearances. Heaven looks deeper. Heaven sees the hidden battles. Heaven sees the private loyalty that no one else applauds. And Heaven sees something about your story that the people around you completely missed. They saw delay. God saw preparation. They saw silence. God saw formation. They saw a person fading from the spotlight. But Heaven saw a soul being strengthened for something that could not be trusted to someone who had not been tested. And this is the truth that is about to surprise many people in the near future. Because the same season that convinced some people you were finished is the very season Heaven used to prepare your next elevation. But there is one detail about this entire process that your enemies never understood. They watched your struggle, but they did not watch what Heaven was building inside you. And that is exactly why something is about to happen that they never saw coming. Because while they were celebrating your silence, God saw something the enemy didn't notice. My beloved soul, there is something deeper behind the delay you have experienced, and it is time for you to understand it clearly. What looked like a pause in your life was never an abandonment. What felt like a closed season was never a cancellation of your purpose. In fact, the very moments that made you question whether you were moving backward were the moments when something strategic was quietly unfolding around you. The delay was not punishment. The delay was positioning. You see, the enemy misread your season. There are forces that watch the lives of people who carry purpose. Not because they admire them, but because they want to interrupt what Heaven intends to do through them. And when those forces saw your life enter a quieter season, they interpreted it through their own limited understanding. They saw your isolation and assumed defeat. They saw your silence and assumed weakness. They saw doors closing and assumed your influence had ended. But their interpretation was wrong. What they believed was your collapse was actually your construction. Because the kingdom of God often works in hidden stages. Before something rises publicly, it is first strengthened privately. Before something expands outwardly, it is first purified inwardly. Heaven does not rush a calling into visibility before the soul carrying it has been prepared to sustain it. That preparation sometimes requires silence, separation, and seasons where fewer people are allowed close enough to influence your direction. That is why certain people disappeared from your life. You may have thought you lost them. But in truth, many of those departures were divine exposure. Some individuals were never meant to accompany you into your next assignment. Their loyalty was conditional. Their support was temporary. And if they had remained close to you during the season that is coming, their influence could have slowed or distorted the path God was preparing for you. So Heaven allowed distance. Sometimes distance reveals what closeness hides. When people step back, their true intentions become visible. Some quietly drifted away when they realized your journey would require patience. Some turned distant when they could no longer benefit from your presence. And some even began speaking against you when your progress did not match the expectations they had placed on your life. What you experienced was not random disappointment. It was exposure. Betrayal has a strange way of revealing the hearts of people. And while it wounds the soul in the moment, it also removes masks that might otherwise remain hidden for years. There were individuals around you who smiled while quietly doubting you. Others encouraged you publicly but privately questioned your future. When the season of waiting arrived, their reactions revealed who truly believed in your journey and who only believed in your momentum. Heaven saw all of it. And while you were processing the pain of those moments, something powerful was happening inside you. The waiting season was strengthening muscles in your spirit that success alone could never develop. Your patience was growing deeper. Your discernment was becoming sharper. Your ability to walk without constant approval was becoming stronger. These are not small developments. These are the foundations of resilience. Because when a person is chosen for a purpose that will influence others, they must first learn how to stand when encouragement is absent. They must learn how to continue when applause disappears. They must discover how to move forward even when their environment becomes uncertain. That kind of strength is not created in comfortable seasons. It is forged in hidden battles. And that is why chosen souls often face unusual resistance. Not because they are weak, but because their future impact threatens forces that prefer darkness to remain undisturbed. When a life carries the potential to bring light into spaces where deception has long existed, opposition often appears long before the breakthrough arrives. You may have wondered why certain conflicts seemed unnecessary. Why certain people turned against you without clear reason. Why discouragement sometimes appeared at the exact moment you were beginning to regain hope. Those moments were not coincidences. They were resistance. But even now, as your life begins to approach a new season, that resistance has not completely disappeared. There are still individuals watching you with quiet skepticism. Some are waiting to see if your strength will fade again. Others may even attempt subtle forms of sabotage. Not always openly, but through words that plant doubt, conversations that twist your story, or attitudes that attempt to discourage your progress. Gossip may rise. Misunderstanding may increase. Some people may question your motives or minimize your growth. Do not be surprised when this happens. Whenever a breakthrough approaches, resistance often makes one final attempt to delay it. The enemy prefers confusion over clarity. If discouragement can distract your focus, it hopes to slow the momentum that heaven is about to release. But here is the truth you must hold firmly in your heart. None of that resistance has the authority to cancel what God has already prepared. Your purpose was not assigned by human opinion. It was written long before the voices around you began forming their judgments. And while some people may still attempt to discourage your movement, their efforts cannot override the timing that heaven has already established. Because something has been building quietly behind the scenes. The patience you developed. The discernment you gained. The strength you discovered during your silent season. All of it has been preparing you for a moment that will arrive sooner than many expect. And when that moment arrives, something unusual will happen. Some of the same people who assumed your story had ended will suddenly realize that your silence was never defeat. It was preparation. The quiet season they misinterpreted will become the very evidence that heaven was shaping something far greater than they imagined. And the moment they finally become convinced that your collapse is permanent, that will be the exact moment heaven releases something they never expected. My beloved soul, now that you understand the hidden battle surrounding your life, you must also understand the responsibility that comes with this moment. Preparation is not only something heaven does for you, it is also something heaven invites you to participate in. There are certain attitudes, choices, and boundaries that will protect the path that is unfolding before you. What I am about to reveal to you are not complicated instructions. They are simple, but they carry deep power when practiced consistently. Listen closely, because these instructions will help you walk wisely through the next phase of your journey. Instruction 1: Guard your heart carefully. Your heart has endured more than most people realize. Betrayal attempted to harden it. Disappointment attempted to exhaust it. Silence attempted to confuse it. Yet despite everything you faced, your heart is still capable of hope. That is something precious. Protect it. Do not allow bitterness to take root simply because others misunderstood you. Do not let the actions of a few people convince you that everyone carries the same intentions. Guarding your heart does not mean closing yourself off from life. It means becoming discerning about what you allow to influence your spirit. Not every voice deserves space in your mind. Not every opinion deserves authority over your peace. Instruction 2: Stop explaining yourself to everyone. There was a time when you felt the need to clarify your motives to those who questioned you. You wanted people to understand your intentions. You wanted misunderstandings to be corrected. But not every misunderstanding requires your explanation. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you because their perspective benefits from that narrative. Trying to convince them otherwise will only drain your energy. The truth about your life does not need to be defended in every conversation. Your consistency will speak louder than arguments ever could. Quiet integrity will eventually reveal what explanations cannot. Instruction 3: Prepare quietly for what is coming. There is movement approaching your life. Opportunities, connections, and responsibilities that once seemed distant are gradually aligning. But preparation must happen before visibility increases. Strengthen your habits. Sharpen your focus. Continue building the discipline that was formed during your silent season. The preparation you do now will determine how confidently you step into what is ahead. Not everything about your preparation needs to be announced. Some of the most powerful growth happens when it is cultivated quietly. The roots of a tree grow underground long before the branches become visible. Instruction 4: Pay attention to who suddenly returns. When the atmosphere around your life begins to shift, certain people may reappear. Some will approach with genuine support. Others may return because they sense momentum returning to your path. Discern the difference. The season you are entering requires wisdom about who you allow close to your inner circle. Not everyone who returns should be given the same level of access they once had. Forgiveness is healthy, but restored access must be earned through consistent character. Watch actions, not just words. True loyalty reveals itself through behavior over time. Instruction 5: Continue walking with humility. Elevation often brings new attention. As your life begins to move forward again, people who once overlooked you may suddenly begin noticing your progress. Remain grounded. The strength that carried you through your hidden season came from humility, not pride. Continue honoring that same posture. Remember the lessons you learned when your journey felt quiet and uncertain. Those lessons will keep your heart balanced when circumstances begin to change. And my beloved soul, as you reflect on these instructions, take a moment even now to acknowledge in your own heart that you are ready to walk forward with wisdom. Some people express that readiness by quietly affirming their faith, by liking or subscribing as a small sign that they choose encouragement over doubt. But more important than any outward action is the posture of your spirit. A willing heart is always heard. Because what is happening around your life right now is not random movement. You are standing near the edge of a transition. The lessons you learned in your silent season were not wasted. The patience you developed was not unnecessary. And the resilience you built was not meaningless. Each instruction you follow now will strengthen your ability to step into what is unfolding without repeating the mistakes that once slowed your progress. Something is aligning. Circumstances that once felt disconnected are gradually moving toward a single point of convergence. Doors that appeared permanently closed are beginning to loosen. Conversations that seemed unlikely are quietly approaching. Even your own confidence is beginning to rebuild in ways you did not expect. You may still feel cautious, and that is understandable. But caution should not be mistaken for fear. Caution simply means wisdom is guiding your steps. Continue walking forward with that wisdom. Continue guarding your peace. Continue preparing with quiet discipline. Because the season you have been waiting for is no longer a distant possibility. The atmosphere around your life is changing. And the shift that heaven has been preparing is closer than you realize. In fact, something is about to shift faster than you expect. My beloved soul, the shift you have been sensing is not an illusion. The atmosphere around your life is changing, and what once felt distant is beginning to move closer. There are seasons when heaven works slowly and quietly, and then there are moments when movement suddenly accelerates. You have been walking through the slow preparation, but now the edge of acceleration is approaching. What took a long time to build will begin to reveal itself in ways that surprise even you. Hear this clearly. The season ahead will not resemble the season behind you. For a long time it felt as if doors remained firmly closed no matter how faithfully you knocked. Opportunities appeared briefly and then disappeared. Conversations that seemed promising faded without explanation. It was as if an invisible barrier stood between you and the progress you believed was meant for your life. But what you could not see during those moments was that heaven sometimes closes doors not to deny you, but to protect the timing of what belongs to you. And timing is now beginning to shift. There will be moments in the near future when doors that once resisted you will suddenly open without the struggle you previously experienced. Invitations will come in ways that feel unexpected. Conversations will begin that reconnect you to opportunities you once thought were permanently lost. Favor will appear in places where you once faced resistance. What felt locked will begin to move. This is the nature of divine reversal. A reversal is not simply progress returning. A reversal is when circumstances begin moving in the opposite direction of what once seemed certain. Situations that looked final begin to change. Positions that seemed unreachable begin to open. And the quiet strength you built during your waiting season becomes visible to people who once overlooked it. Some of what is coming will surprise you. Not because you doubted your purpose, but because you grew accustomed to the slower pace of your preparation. When movement begins to accelerate again, it can feel unfamiliar at first. But do not shrink from that momentum. You were not strengthened in silence only to remain hidden forever. The same discipline that carried you through your quiet season will now carry you through visible progress. There will also be moments of hidden promotion. Promotion does not always arrive with announcements or applause. Sometimes it appears through subtle shifts that gradually place you in new spaces of influence. You may notice that your voice begins to carry more weight in conversations. Your ideas may suddenly receive attention from people who once overlooked them. Doors that once required struggle may open with unexpected ease. These are signs that the alignment around your life is changing. And as this shift unfolds, something else will begin to happen. Some of the same people who ignored your journey will begin to notice the transformation. Individuals who once assumed your story had ended may suddenly become curious about what is happening in your life. The quiet progress they dismissed will now appear as visible growth. Do not be distracted by their surprise. Their recognition is not the source of your progress, it is simply the result of it. Because what heaven is restoring in your life is not meant to satisfy human opinions. It is meant to fulfill the purpose that was written over your life long before others formed their expectations. And in some cases, truth will also begin to surface. Situations that once confused you may finally become clear. Betrayals that remained hidden may quietly reveal themselves. Conversations you never heard may eventually reach your awareness. Not to reopen wounds, but to confirm what your spirit already sensed. Exposure is part of restoration. When deception loses its hiding place, clarity replaces confusion. You will begin to understand why certain doors closed, why certain people departed, and why certain paths redirected your journey. What once felt like loss will reveal itself as protection. Picture this moment for a second. Imagine doors that once refused to move suddenly opening with ease. Imagine favor appearing in places where you previously faced resistance. Imagine opportunities arriving that connect you to people who recognize the strength that was developed in your hidden season. And imagine the quiet realization spreading among those who once overlooked you. They will notice the difference. Not because you demanded their attention, but because transformation cannot remain hidden forever. But listen carefully to this final truth, my beloved soul. Before this breakthrough fully unfolds, before the restoration becomes visible, before the doors open in the way heaven intends, something important must first be sealed within the spirit of your life. Because breakthrough without spiritual alignment can become unstable. And what heaven is about to release over you must be secured, protected, and anchored in the right foundation. So before the next chapter begins, there is one final step that must take place. A moment of agreement between your heart and heaven. A moment where what has been prepared for you is sealed with clarity, protection, and purpose. And that moment is closer than you realize. But before that breakthrough fully arrives, something must be sealed in the spirit. My beloved soul, before the doors open, before the shift becomes visible, and before the restoration fully unfolds in your life, there is something sacred that must happen right now. Breakthrough is not only about opportunity, it is about alignment. What heaven prepares must also be sealed within the spirit of the one who will carry it. And in this moment, your heart and heaven are being invited into a covenant of agreement. So take a slow breath for a moment. Set aside the noise around you, the expectations of people, the fears that tried to grow during your waiting season, and allow your spirit to become still. Because this moment is not about performance. It is about positioning your heart to receive what has already been prepared for you. May the peace of heaven settle over you even now. May every lingering weight from the past season begin to lift from your spirit. The disappointment that tried to define you, the voices that questioned you, the silence that once confused you, none of those things have authority over the future that is unfolding before you. Let them release their hold over your thoughts. And now receive this blessing over your life. May divine protection surround the path you are walking. May every plan formed against your purpose lose its power before it ever reaches you. May hidden traps be exposed before they can cause harm. May the wisdom of heaven guide your decisions so that every step you take moves you closer to the destiny prepared for you. Let clarity replace confusion. Let courage replace hesitation. Let peace replace every fear that once whispered that your story was over. Your life was never abandoned. Your purpose was never erased. Even in your silent season, heaven remained attentive to every detail of your journey. The prayers you whispered when no one else listened were heard. The tears you tried to hide were noticed. The moments when you kept moving forward despite exhaustion were recorded in the unseen realm. Nothing about your endurance was wasted. And now, as the atmosphere around your life begins to change, may the strength that was built within you remain steady. May humility protect your heart when progress becomes visible. May discernment guard the relationships you allow close to your future. And may the peace of God remain stronger than every distraction that attempts to pull your focus away from your calling. I speak covering over your mind. May discouragement lose its voice. May doubt lose its influence. May every lie that tried to convince you that you were finished be replaced with truth. You are still standing. You are still chosen. And the purpose written over your life is still unfolding. May every door that belongs to you open at the right moment. Not too early to overwhelm you, and not too late to delay what heaven has prepared. May the favor meant for your life locate you even in unexpected places. And may the opportunities that arrive recognize the strength that was developed within you during your hidden season. Your destiny is being sealed with wisdom. Your future is being covered with protection. Your path is being aligned with purpose. And even the resistance that once tried to discourage you will eventually become evidence of how far you have come. So now let your heart quietly agree with what heaven has spoken over you. You may express that agreement in a simple way. Some people write a short declaration of faith, others show their agreement by liking or subscribing as a way of keeping their spirit connected to messages that strengthen them. But the most important agreement is the one happening inside your heart right now. Choose to believe that your season is shifting. Choose to believe that what was hidden is being prepared for revelation. Choose to believe that your story is still unfolding. Because the same God who watched over you during your silent season is the same God who will guide you into your next chapter. The patience you carried was not weakness. The waiting you endured was not failure. It was preparation for a moment that is closer than you once imagined. And when that moment arrives, the difference will be undeniable. Those who once doubted will notice the change. Those who once overlooked you will recognize the strength that was quietly forming. And the path that once seemed uncertain will become clear. Hold your faith steady, my beloved soul. Walk forward with wisdom. Remain anchored in humility and courage. Because the same God who watched you in silence will reveal you in power.